The Hanoverian Dynasty in Britain, a tapestry of change and continuity. The ascension of the Hanoverian dynasty to the British throne in the early 18th century marked a pivotal moment in the nation's history. Originating from the German state of Hanover, the dynasty brought with it a new era characterized by political transformations, cultural shifts, and a complex interplay between monarchy and parliament. 1. The Hanoverian succession 1714. The death of Queen Anne in 1714 without a direct heir paved the way for the Hanoverian succession. Elector George Louis of Hanover became King George I of Great Britain, initiating the reign of the Hanoverian monarchs. 2. Constitutional changes. The Hanoverians navigated a political landscape characterized by the evolving balance between monarchy and parliament. George I, unfamiliar with English customs and language, faced challenges that shaped the monarchy's role within the constitutional framework. I speak English, but cannot follow it. George I. 3. The Jacobite threat. The Jacobite uprisings, fueled by supporters of the exiled Stuart claimants, posed a recurrent challenge during the early Hanoverian reigns. The Battle of Culloden in 1746 marked the end of significant Jacobite resistance, solidifying Hanoverian rule. God save the King, traditional Hanoverian loyalist slogan. 4. Cultural influences. The Hanoverian period witnessed the flourishing of the Enlightenment, with cultural and intellectual transformations shaping British society. The Royal Society, founded during the Stuart era, continued to thrive, fostering scientific and intellectual pursuits. 5. George III and the American Revolution. The reign of George III proved significant, particularly in the context of the American Revolution. His policies and taxation measures sparked tensions, leading to the 13 American colonies seeking independence. The die is now cast. The colonies must either submit or triumph. George III. 6. Hanoverians and German connections. The Hanoverian monarchs maintained strong ties to their German roots. This connection influenced diplomatic relations and alliances during a period when European geopolitics played a crucial role in shaping Britain's destiny. Born in a country which I left at the age of 7, I still feel the attractions of that cradle of my infancy. George IV. 7. George IV and the Regency era. George IV's tumultuous personal life and extravagant reign defined the Regency era. His patronage of the arts, architecture, and fashion left an enduring mark on British cultural aesthetics. A good constitution in a bad world is like a fair character amongst the rogues. George IV. 8. Queen Victoria, the Victorian era. The accession of Queen Victoria in 1837 marked the beginning of the Victorian era, characterized by industrialization, social reform, and Britain's emergence as a global power. We are not interested in the possibilities of defeat. They do not exist. Queen Victoria. 9. The legacy of the Hanoverians. The Hanoverian Dynasty, spanning from the early 18th century to the early 20th century, played a pivotal role in shaping modern Britain. Their reigns witnessed transformative moments, from political evolutions to cultural blossoming, leaving an indelible mark on the nation's history. I have a great and difficult task to perform. Heavy is the responsibility placed upon me. Edward VII, first monarch of the House of Saxe-Coburg and Gotha, later Windsor. In conclusion, the Hanoverian dynasty's tenure on the British throne was a dynamic period of change and continuity. From navigating constitutional challenges to contributing to the cultural fabric of Britain, the Hanoverians left a legacy that echoes through the corridors of history. Their impact extended beyond the borders of Britain, influencing global events and shaping the narrative of a nation in the throes of transformation. The Georgian era, a tapestry of elegance, enlightenment, and empire. The Georgian era, spanning from the early 18th century to the early 19th century, stands as a captivating chapter in British history. named after the 4 successive monarchs named George. This period witnessed a confluence of cultural refinement, political evolution, and imperial expansion that left an indelible mark on the landscape of Great Britain. 1. The Hanoverian succession and the rise of Georgian Britain 1714. The Georgian era began with the Hanoverian succession in 1714, as George I ascended to the throne. This marked a shift in the monarchy, bringing a new dynasty with German roots to the helm of British affairs. I shall endeavour to deserve a continuance of your affection, George I. 2. Political stability and constitutional developments. The Georgian period saw the consolidation of constitutional monarchy and the establishment of political stability. The Hanoverian monarchs navigated a delicate balance with Parliament, setting the stage for the gradual evolution of representative government. The first object is to secure an effectual and well-regulated arrangement of the finances. Sir Robert Walpole, Britain's first de facto Prime Minister. 3. The Enlightenment and cultural flourish. The Enlightenment, a period of intellectual and cultural revival, permeated Georgian society. The Royal Society, a scientific institution founded in the 17th century, continued to thrive, fostering advancements in science, philosophy, and literature. It is the age of improvement. Samuel Johnson, prominent figure of the Georgian literary scene. 4. Architecture and the Georgian aesthetic. Georgian architecture left an indelible mark on the British landscape. The elegance of buildings like the Royal Crescent in Bath and the grandeur of London's Georgian squares reflected a refined taste that defined the era. In architecture, as in all other operative arts, the end must direct the operation. Sir Henry Wotton, Georgian-era poet and diplomat. 5. Empire building and global influence. The Georgian era witnessed the expansion of the British Empire. Wars with European rivals and colonial acquisitions in India and the Americas solidified Britain's status as a global power. I am for those means which will give the most glory to the British arms, and which promise the most certain and lasting advantages to the country. William Pitt the Elder, Prime Minister during the 7 Years' War. 6. Social stratification and industrial revolution. The era brought forth the early rumblings of the Industrial Revolution. Rapid urbanization and the rise of industry transformed the socio-economic landscape, leading to the emergence of a burgeoning middle class. The social fabric of Britain is changing, and we must adapt to the demands of a new age.